It's Mary Beckman from Metaphysical Meltdown. Thank you so much for coming in today to tune in to hear Katie IndiCrow. I'm so happy to invite her. She is here from Nova Scotia, and I am talking to you from Tacoma, Washington today. We have lots to talk about, so settle in and we'll see what is on the menu. Thanks so much, Katie, for being here. Welcome.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure, and hello to all of the people who are joining us in the astrals right now, because being the people that we are, we have chosen to deliver this message in true psychopop sense, which is to our people as they travel. And then, of course, we'll ground this message later on, distribute it. And I'm very pleased that we get to do it this way, because as we know, information sharing, connection happens in so many different forms, and I encourage us getting together astrally and finding ways to bring it down. So thanks so much for inviting me to be here. I know that you have a community of psychopomps in particular around you, and so that's something I'm very passionate about. Looking forward to sharing, talking, reading, whatever it is that happens while we're here.
Very good. Yes, that's something that I am honored to do, and did some last night. I don't have the okay yet to talk about it, so that's all I'm going to say, but it was a beautiful honor, and it's been happening quite a bit lately around me, and I've still been thinking about it today, just saying thank you, thank you, thank you. So grateful to have been able to be a small part of that. So many things on my list today, but really I just want to go with what you have coming up. So I have been following you for a while, and I'd love to have you just talk a bit about what it is you do and how people can find you. I listen to you when you come on in the morning. I listen. And I also wanted to show you that I have you on my little piece of paper, your name that I give away to all my clients as one of the people I suggest for meditation, because you have a nice voice, and I always feel so much better when I listen to you and Tim Wilde and Diana Cooper, and so I have you on the list. I also have my world with me today, because last night preparing for this interview, I was listening to your Earth Day meditation, and yes, it's so beautiful. And at the end of it, you said, wait for a moment, Earth has a message for you. And sure enough, Earth told me, more power to you, Mary. So just tell everybody about you, if you would.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm a multidimensional being who has come into that awareness. And so, like so many of us who are there, the question, who are you, what do you do, is like, oh gosh. So basically the Earth presence is, I am working currently on the Universal Integration Project as a technician, and I have my hands in a lot of different projects because I'm a super nerdy builder. And so I'm very passionate about interdimensional travel. Spend a lot of time with soul integration and soul crossings. I train a lot of the psychopomps in the astrals. So a lot of you already know me, which is why you implicitly trust me. I do a lot to do with the children. So what used to be in the 5D, what used to be the Grail mission and all that stuff, which is completely disintegrated, and that's something I've been writing about lately. You know, the 12 strand plus DNA was activated. That was one of my main strands of work. And so now that that's been done, I'm continuing to work on with the DNA expansion project as a blueprinter. And so I lead teams internationally and across the universe on different types of jobs. A lot of that has to do with building things. So pretty heavily involved as a technician in the 12D plus integration. And so I guess, you know, it sounds like a lot, but I think once the thing is that I am aware of a whole lot of different parts of myself, and I know what those parts are doing in different dimensions. So as you turn on and activate your soul, a lot of us who choose to be this active, you know, I'm like this because I love creation and I'm a nerd. I'm really interested in just expansion all the time. And that's just who I am as a soul and a being, you know, and so people can choose to be involved in as many projects or as few projects as they like. And as I share what I do and as I talk about this, I think it's really important to temper that with saying that it's taken a really long time to get these skills. And I've gone through a lot of initiation rites to get them, but they are not exclusive. They're not something that is without reach. And, you know, each and every one of us at this point, now that we're at the free will place of 70 plus, and many people are crossing into that now, which is what the crossings we were talking about last night would have had to do with. And I'm allowed to say that in the broader context. It's a very good time to be here. And the more that people connect into the multidimensionality, the more they'll realize that they're probably involved in a whole bunch of different stuff too, because we're agents of conflation who are here on purpose and who are doing a whole lot of different journeying, collecting a whole lot of different information. We've lived a lot of different timelines. And the point of this life for so many of us was line it all up and do the best that we can. And so a whole lot of people are doing that. And so my teaching has to do with basically everything I just said there. And some of the sessions, I work a lot with children and families would be the only other thing that I would add to that, because, you know, we talk a lot about how we were creating this world and that there would be crystal and rainbow children and children who are awakened without the veil intact coming to this planet, and they would be the free humans. They're here. And so their education needs to be taken seriously. And I, as a master of this universe, have been elected and self-selected to participate in that process. And so I run kids classes and I hang out with families and we play with unicorns and dragons. And to be honest, that part is the most fun part of everything I just mentioned. And it's the part that moves me and grounds me the most. And so hello to all of my friends who are watching, and any kids that are interested or parents who just heard that, go to my YouTube page, IndiCrow Energetics. The family calls that I do record, and never a child is on video because that would be terrible and weird. I share them exercises for empowerment and embodiment and helping them and you stabilize and have fun on this changing earth, because ascension is a process, and I'm also a main architect of that. And so I woke up a long time ago and started sharing a long time ago, really prolifically, to give anyone who wanted them open access tools how to shift dimensions, because I also am a firm believer that there's a lot of BS out there in our community. And so I pretty much just said, you know what, I'm not going to put a lot of this behind a paywall. I trust that what I require will come to me. It always has. What I'm going to do is be authentic and tell my truth, and not even my truth, but tell the truth. Give the best information that I could create after I tested it and implemented it myself, open and free. And really, really support all of the light workers in this efficient process of ascension where we don't get beat to heck and where we don't keep looping. Because I don't know about you, but I enjoy having a good time. There were many bad times then, one of the good ones. And so I felt like, why not just reach out the hand and welcome as many people as I could to join me, which is how you found me.
It is. I couldn't even tell you how I found you, but once I did, the thing I enjoy the most is that when you do come on in the morning, when I see you on Facebook, you say, this is what we're talking about. And then throughout your message, you have many ways that people can find you with all sorts of different things. And it's just well presented. So please find Katie on YouTube. And she has a lot of content. My goodness, I'm amazed at how much awesome stuff is out there.
Thank you. And my blog that I have been keeping for a couple of years is www.indicrowenergetics.com. I think I'm at 603 posts today, and a lot of those, thank you for your compliment, a lot of those are exercises, because I think that, like I said, personal meditation practices, ways to have fun with this information offered from my heart for the benefit of those who sought it in alignment with the highest vibration I could connect to at any given time has been my agenda and objective ever since I came awake. And I started recording prolifically, I think in 2016, knowing that we were going to transition to 5D and then beyond. And I was like, all right, I'm ready. I've been working on this. I had the skills, so I started really focusing on pulling myself through the dimensions so that I could teach other people how to do it, which was how I initially came out, was teaching about grid work and teaching about how to connect to 5D. I was just teaching university before that. And then I retired.
I could tell. I remember saying that, and I thought, I knew she was a teacher or something like that before. That was part of my prayer this morning when I was walking around the neighborhood with my guide, Mr. Tesla and Professor Einstein. I said, please let this little brain keep up with that big brain, because I'm having troubles. I felt like the cosmic milk truck hit me last night, you know. Just so much energy coming through in the last couple of days, so much heart expansion, and it's It's exciting, I think.
I like it too. I mean, I recognize that many people, as they step into five, the whole planet is there right now. And I mean, some people don't feel that way, but fifth dimension is really about karma breaking down and learning shadow and integration and really just kind of moving beyond binary divides into unification. And so that also is characteristic of 4 and 6. But a dimensional vibrational spectrum is really just kind of like a wavy window that we move through based on choice and where our bodies are able to handle it. And so, earlier on in the stuff, I think every single one of us gets beat the heck a little bit and we feel like crap. Which was also something I experienced in 2016 as I started the soul unification process with full consciousness. And I mean, like, I was puking all the time, I was ripping my hair out, I was really stressed out and it sucked. So again, that was a big inspiration. And what we don't like, we can change. And for me, I really like efficiency. I have a dragon soul and I just saw it as a challenge and I felt like it was a lot of fun. So I like I said, I don't like to be sick. So I just started developing tools to offer to people the things that worked for me. Like, I would be like, okay, how can I fix this for myself? And then I go into deep meditation with the universe. I was never given a human teacher really or anything like that. I was always only allowed to be taught by myself and at some points the masters and nature. But yeah, learning to go within myself is also, and learning to go within the self is one of the key hallmarks of the method that I teach everyone. And you will know that because you're somebody that has connected to a lot of my work. I believe that soul autonomy and freedom and soul unification and really connecting to yourself as the creator and the master creator of your reality is a very important step that most people are making right now, right? The transition from 5 to 7 is when you do that. And so the planet is in the 5th dimension, figuring things out. A lot of people stabilized in the 7th in the last couple of weeks, and they're doing it right now. We have some different people going on in other ones that I'm not going to bother talking about because the bulk of the audience is going to be 5 and 7, and I think that's where this is supposed to be. So I gratefully focus on that.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yes, there's lots of peace under all the crazy right now. There's tons of peace to be had. And I try to just align with that. Can you talk about, oh my gosh, really what you do as a gate master? And some people might not know what that is actually.
Well, most people don't know what that is because there's not that many of us who are on this planet who are activated and know what we're doing. There are some people who might try to claim that name, but you know who we are because you meet us and you see us, and we don't make definitions and we don't make claims and we don't I am this, I am that, because that is ego language. So you know that I am a gate master because you see it in the information that I give you and what happens when you work with it. Those are the gates that I'm opening and sharing for you, right? That's the stuff that I do. So go into other things that I would do. I mean, like, I'm not that comfortable talking about it, to be completely honest, because there are people who are so very snaky, and there are still people who are still very power oriented who are going to come to this broadcast, which is why we had to do it this way. And so to be completely honest, I'm going to keep my sacred knowledge sacred. And I have no problem that you asked that question. I'm glad that you did, because it gives me the opportunity. You know, a lot of people complain about why doesn't somebody say it? It's like, because this is sacred, and not everything in our personal spiritual energetic journey is to be talked about and you know, some of for me, and I'm sure for you too, like, it all comes out eventually when it's time. But there are also a lot of things that are very sacred about the craft, and who I am as gate master changes every single moment because I'm an instrument of the universe and beyond. And so who I am now, I think the most important part of who I am as a gate master right now is that I occupy the body called Katie IndiCrow, and I exist on planet Earth, and I'm here talking to you. And in so doing, I'm an agent of integration of the universe. And I think that would be, if you needed to know what kind of gates I'm holding, I think those would be the ones. And that would be the key words that would tip you in the audience who would need to know off.
And it works. I listen.
Yep. See what I mean? Sorry, loud laughter.
Those two things that you just said was right where I was trying to go. Just well said. Perfect. I'm a rock person, a rock and crystal person, and I love your beautiful bright rocks. Could you talk about what they actually are? Some people don't really know what those Andaras are.
Well, again, I like crystals and rocks. So it doesn't have to be like this for me to appreciate it. I think that people really stress. So I primarily work with, well, I work with all crystals of the planet, right? And so we have the crystals. I'm a grade master. So I travel the world turning on and building the dimensional portals, the dimensional capabilities, the high vibrational crystal cities, all that stuff. That's a whole other part of the work that I do. So there's crystals all over the planet that are like natural, like where I live is a lot of quartz and pyrite. So those crystals are just as important to me. So I would work with those in my day-to-day work on the planet. Other crystals, which I know the ones you're asking about, are Andara crystals. And, you know, they escape definition in a way that I feel is going to satisfy some people, and that's what I like about them. Andara crystals have different kinds of properties. You know, sometimes they have a lot to do with like lightning, lava, elements, cosmic elements striking the earth. Other times they are grown intentionally and pop through dimensional portals as a result of what is able to be created in an extremely high vibrational space during blips in the space-time fabric, which is something that nobody else I don't think would have said publicly about them at this point, but they're ready for me to say it about them at this time. We make crystals come in through this dimension. You know, they are birthed here through us and through the formation of elements that agree to come together to form them, right? So you're talking about whenever there's a whole bunch of lightning storms somewhere. Well, you can probably guess that a whole bunch of the lightning that touched the earth, depending on what kind of earth that was and what elements constituted the ground that it connected to, and also what it traveled through in the air to get to, and what constituted the electrons that, and like what the journey of the electrons was, all of that comes together to create contact, and that contact then births the crystal. And that's kind of something that whenever, you know, when I say that we birth the crystals, what we do is we align the cosmic frequencies of our bodies, the work of the planet and the universe, and all of it comes together to, and I know that that sounds crazy, but that's how that works in the higher vibrational dimensions. And so the crystals that some people, you know what, I think that's a good answer that I just gave right there. I don't think I need to.
No,
Have any other questions you want to ask about those? I'm happy to.
I do have a question. So I think it was, you know how time is so odd and our connection keeps going in and out. So there's a lot of energy around us, certainly. So in the last, gosh, I want to say 2 years, but really just a year, I have been seeing these giant pyramid crystals coming up out of the earth, and it has to do with me. And so when you said, when I was listening to one of your recordings last night, and you said the words, gosh, I can't find it. I have so much writing on my page about you. I can't quite find it, but birthing crystals. And I think that has something to do with me. My guides tell me I'm the universal crystal. This pink crystal is me. So could you talk about that for a second?
Well, one of the things that's happening to you right now, and the reason why it's going in and out, is I'm helping you make your transition to the 7th dimension because you have been working in the 5th and it's kicking your ass and you need to get the fuck out of there. And I just dropped the F-bomb and I'm sorry, but you're done. You have to leave. So what I'm doing is I'm helping lead you and your community to 7 so that you can be grounded here because that's fucking enough. You guys have done enough work. The looping, the lying, not that you, of course, or your people are involved in it, but you guys have been dealing with cleaning up loop mess and you just finished your job last night. And so I'm here to tell you, congratulations, job well done. Come live in the 7th dimension where we have a hell of a lot more fun and you can do your work there. You'll be able to connect to those crystals more when you let go and go through your transition that you're going to go through within the next 2 weeks or so. And then I imagine after that, you're going to want to come talk to me. And I will be here. I've been watching you. I know what you're doing. I trust the work that you're doing. And I say that to you publicly in front of your people because people need to know the old guard is done. We let them go 2 years ago. There are a lot of people who tried to stop us. Why? Being a psychopomp means that we make sure the souls get where they need to go with integrity. No soul belongs to anybody but themselves. Not a fragment, not an aspect, not a shard. We are the people that go and we dig up the pieces of the people and we take it at personal cost to ourselves. Now, we have designed new ways to do psychopomping in the higher vibrational dimensions, and that's what I've been doing for the last few years. And I'm ready to teach you personally about it if that's something that you care about. But I know you'll develop your own craft as well because you've done this before and you don't need your handheld. None of us do. However, You going through the initiations of the levels and stuff, they're taking away the energy and it's chipping away at your soul. And it's time for you in particular to shift to your higher purpose. You've done a good job. You've learned the initiations and you'll keep shifting. We do things differently in every single dimension, and who we are as souls and what our journeys are open up different parts. You are needed in other systems now, and you will find the ways. This whole Christed Rose loop, I say that I was one of the founding members. I spent most of the first 20 years or 30 years, well, I guess it was like 32, 33 years of my life on that system. And then on my 33rd birthday, I snapped out. Thank God. It was awful. But I've also done a lot of the work as the grid master on closing off those sites. And I'm telling you right now that there are people who are in the spiritual community who are using those births as lies. And they're using those words as spiritual manipulation technologies. And last night, we also busted a lot of souls out of their little power holes. And so that's also why this couldn't go live. Because if it was, then I would never have been able to say this without us having too much interference. And I'm happy that I'm saying it because you know what? Why not? It's not in fear. It's time for people to know the truth. I don't believe in naming names because I think that's witch hunt energy. And I'm not into that. A name or person is just going to be replaced by another energy unless we deal with the energy which creates it. And to me, that's another loop. I don't want anybody coming to me after this saying, is it this person? Is it that person? Because I'm not going to tell you. I don't do that stuff. And I don't want anybody sending me articles of, other people's things and asking me to check up on other people because I don't do that either. When I said I was checking up on you, it's because you're part of my community and I care for you. And when you come into one of the community of somebody like me or you, that means we become, in a way, we're holding space for them. If somebody needs a hug in the astrals, that's one of our people. Not that they belong to us, but they are people that trust us and rely on us and ask us for questions, and we love them. It's like mother, it's like a spiritual mom. I'm not that you call them your mother, but that's what it is, and you go find them and you support them. And yeah, so there's just a lot of things happening with the dissolving of that tract right now. And a lot of your people were connected to it. And you get them out. But yeah, no, we're not going to go into any, I know you would never do this, but yeah, just in saying this, I don't want this broadcast and what we're saying to dissolve into that. I want us to focus on 70 plus. I want us to focus on soul autonomy and how to do it. No crap talking. I just had to tell the truth there.
Absolutely. No, I'm not much of that. That's and I'm totally there. I will call you in a couple weeks. I knew I would call you. I just didn't know when.
I know exactly what you'll call me about, and the answer is going to be yes.
For me, I always hope the answer is yes. I kind of go there. I'm not much of a crap talker at all. I hold stuff inside, and I think that's why Earth told me, more power to you. Let your voice out. Go ahead and talk.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's about the integrity with which you do it. The reason I had to say that today is because that system is being pulled apart right now.
Yes.
And we're in the middle of a heart expansion. You mentioned that earlier. And right now, the part of the system that we're working on is purifying the sexual centers and the sexual manipulation technologies that existed all the way up until 5. And we're also doing a lot of the heart expansion so people can connect to the 7D heart grid, which is our universal communication network. And that's what you've also been doing. And I also have an exercise on my YouTube page about that. It's called Purifying Heart Expansion. And then a couple weeks ago, a lot of us will have been going through energy upgrades around the pineal gland and the vagus nerve and the adrenal glands. And that was a really powerful one. I recommend people go onto my YouTube page on that. This is how, so a lot of the practices I record, and the reason why they work so well is, like I said, I'm one of the lead technicians on this stuff. So me and my friends go and we figure out how this stuff works. Then we test it out on each other to see, and then we improve the process. And then I release videos based on what we've created. That's why my technology works, is because there's a lot of they don't want to come on screen. Sometimes it's just me. A lot of the time it isn't, and they don't want to come on screen because they have their other stuff going on. I give them mention when they want it. And, a lot of the stuff is also just me, but you know what I mean? It's like there are teams that come together to create these practices, and I give my acknowledgement to those people. I'm not going to say their names. I can say Jerome because he comes on camera a lot with me in public these days, but there's usually at least 3 or 4 of us who have tested it before I would even bother to share it with people, because I honor people's souls so strongly. And there's just so many, another thing that I know you will know about is like and I say this to people, autonomy. Do not go and receive soul activations from people that you don't know what
Oh,
they're doing.
mm,
Don't just go receive a light language. I loved when you say on your page and no light language. I love that because I do light language myself, but it's only with my hands and it's a very specific art that I do and I know what I'm doing when I'm doing it. It's very irresponsible for us to be channeling things through our hands and our bodies that we don't know what they mean. That's another way that people accidentally would get implanted in the fifth dimension, right? I think the clear theme of this interview is the fifth dimension is corrupted and it's also in the process of being dissolved and our whole planet is 7, 9, 12 and beyond because there's more than 12 and we already have built that capability too. There's awesome people, beings here. We have a really cool planet full of I get to communicate with a lot of people, thousands of them. And I network with the gatekeepers of the planet. And so I'm tapped into a lot of teams and to see the capability and the love and the continuous skills expansion is amazing and inspiring. And we're in really good hearts. And this old system where a lot of people and their souls were stuck in 5D and their spiritual and soul autonomy was being withheld. People are all upset about being inside and all the things that are going around with the other thing. The life example, I'm not going to even bring the word in but we know what I'm talking about. That's a mirror of society, another level of the collective who are processing energy that is necessary for them to process to move through their initiations in 5th, right? Their initiations look different than ours did. Because the world has changed, right? And so in order for the energy of fear or knowing that things can be like, how many plagues we didn't come back from? Whether you think this is one or not, the public needed to move through shifting that energy. And this is one that we are going to come back from. You know what I mean? So you were also noticing a lot of repeats of old world history, but coming out with a very different outcome. That's timeline switching for the planet. And so over the next couple of years, we're going to see a couple, oh my God, WTF, is that? And then we're all going to have to just get to our 70 plus, it'll probably be 12 by, next year, little energy spaces. And we're going to have to plant ourselves as seeds in this planet and anchor that reality stream and continue to power it and grow it while the collectives process the necessary energy that they must process to go through their initiations again, And so it's all kind of working like clockwork. Like a spiral, like a cosmic spiral, not like clockwork. That's actually the worst way I ever could have said that. Which brings us back to time, right? Because Gregorian time is a trap.
There was so much in there. I'm not sure where to go, but I just want to say this before I forget, is please do go back and listen to the pineal adrenal one that you had a few days ago, everybody. That helped so much. And I think I did listen to the heart expansion one. So just keep up with Katie and also go back and see what she's done in the past, because it all works great. And yes, there is so much going on. And the best thing I ever did definitely was turn my TV off and disconnect from some of these folks that, I used to listen to, and I just try to go inside, listen to my higher self and guidance and certain folks that I resonate with. And I thank you for bringing this out so much. What I loved about what I heard last night was Earth does not want to create a disaster. I love that. And I loved when you said, hold on just a moment, because Earth has a message for you. And I know that people are getting more used to listening to their bodies and listening to nature. That's what this time is about, really, I believe. So could you speak a little bit about when you said Earth doesn't want to create a disaster, if that's okay?
Well, I definitely can. There's energy that the planet must shift. The planet is a sentient being, and for the planet to shift into its higher vibrational capabilities, it, just like us, must expand. So when you think about the elements, what are the elements? Many things for many types of beings. But they, in one way, as we experience them on this planet, they are the expression of it, the planet's personality and its energy. And there has been elemental suppression. When the elementals are in their higher vibrational form, 70 plus, especially 12 more, what we know as a storm doesn't happen the same way. There isn't really a potential for disaster in that particular context as we would know it now. I'm not saying that there wouldn't be something like a tsunami or anything like that, but we would know that it was happening because we would have had strong indications from the earth, and we would have just moved and let the earth do what it needed to do. And in addition to that, supported the elementals in their role in managing it by respectfully listening to them. And then people like me would show up and we would also work with it, right? And so that was what that exercise, the Earth Day 22, the exercise was saying, hey, as a community, we're showing up and saying the planet is calling for us to help and shift energy. And so even if you've never done this before, going and anchoring love and powering up that 70 plus timeline with us, or pathway, as I was guiding people to do through the exercise, is a huge help, right? And, you know, when you look at how storms happen or why they happen or weird weather, I'm not saying we're ever going to completely stop that, because storms are completely essential part, but disaster, wide-scale human disaster of deaths of millions of people, like that was so many people are saying could or would happen, are in this spectrum, and it isn't what the earth would do. You know what I mean? That's not really what is meant to happen. Do I think that sometimes people create disasters unintentionally? Whenever people say, hey, let's stop this storm, or let's do this, or, you know, that can cause problems. But even since the time that I delivered that message, possibilities have shifted. So we already shifted out of it. There's enough people that are going to understand more about it and have already started receiving the lessons since that time. 100 people who are high vibrational people learning, calling something in and making it as a focused intention has a lot of power. Which is why it's also really important for people when they join into live meditations or planetary meditations or group meditations, that they have a fundamental understanding of how meditation and light anchoring works and what the principles of connecting to creating are. Because, you know, I see a lot of people resisting stuff, and or people whose energy of love is being used and manipulated to power up the agendas of other beings, in particular in the fifth dimension. And they're taking, what they do is they take a thing that you care about. So like, let's stop this disease, if you remember that one from a few weeks ago. So they take a thing that you care about. And I'm not saying all of this is intentional or ill will, that would be silly. I'm presenting this in divine neutrality here. But they take a thing that you care about and keywords go in. And then you see manipulation, energy, discord, backlash, BS, ripples. Because it's being plugged in through a tainted system. Why will I not join somebody else's group meditations? Because I haven't met anybody as pure as me yet. And I don't mean that in a rude way. You know, I show up and offer my support to my friends. I know I have to stay in my energy field in my own particular way. But I also don't think people quite understand the concept. Like, if an Indigenous elder came and wanted to hold space, I would shut my damn mouth and I would dance with them and I would do whatever, because they know the dynamics of what it means to take these people in and to bring them in your meditative space and then to guide them in intent. Like, that's a big frigging deal. That's not just like, oh, hey, do you want to just like meditate with me? I mean, for us it is, but you know what I mean? Like the amount of time and energy and attention that goes into preparing for that stuff on my end is a lot more than I think people understand. So I will like fast. I'm on energy cleanses for like months at a time. I put a lot of effort into raising my vibration on it every single day. Extreme realness with myself. I won't work with anybody if I'm in another dimension or time strand that's dangerous, because I could unintentionally bring stuff back to them. And I think that now that, and I'm interested in talking to you about this, because I know that you're stepping into a whole other realm. I know, I see what you're capable of. And these are all things that you're keying, you know, and are keying into your awareness. And there's a couple people, at least I know, that are going to hear this, who need to hear this. Very powerful people who are going to be sparked in the best way. And I'm grateful for you for inviting me here, because anything we can do to spark our friends, you know, and to spark the other beings who are going to anchor this knowledge and act in integrity and help support the souls is exactly part of our job too, because you are here also helping be a gatekeeper, right? This is a gate, you asked what's the gate master duty? This I'm dropping is one. And you are being a gatekeeper by creating the safe space for me, you and your husband, or partner, sorry, I forget. You're creating the space for me to deliver the message by holding the space, because if I was to do it alone, I wouldn't probably be able to do it as well. You're basically holding my space while I can just kind of focus. So that's how we all kind of, and another thing is like, we layer together, so beautifully. And I think that's one of the best things about where we're going in awareness now too, is how it's not about hierarchy, it's about understanding who you are as a soul and what you're doing right now. And just doing that the best that you can. And eventually you'll learn other stuff, and then you'll do that the best that you can. And as long as we all just stay humble and do the best that we can, it goes very, very well. And I'm sure you're noticing that.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Staying in love. And I didn't get issued jealousy and weird ego crap and stuff this time around. And I'm thankful for that. Must have learned that before somehow. just trying to be peaceful over here. So yes, absolutely. Oh my
I
God.
just really like to eat pizza and dance. Can I just eat pizza and dance and drink water and occasionally wine?
Oh my gosh. I'm so lucky that last year I learned that I can't eat pizza. That was what was actually killing me. So now I'm being peaceful eating rice. How about that? Oh my gosh. So let's see, what else did I want to talk to you about? I really, really want to inspire folks to check you out. And that's what I will be doing. I will be spending more time checking you out. What I've learned this time being at home more is I have learned that I used to spend some time doing things that just didn't work for me. So I am spending this time now learning. And how much time can I create to learn? And so I'm hoping to inspire people to go within and listen to the bodies, but also to listen to some of this great stuff that's out there.
Well, if I was going to inspire people in a direction, so the main stuff I talk about, there's the history of ascension. So go to my blog and read it backwards. If you have anything, any of the themes that I've brought up today, unless I said it was brand new, I've spoken about extensively.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done it in a way that it would be easy to understand. So I have, like, if you're looking to understand more about my basic meditation practice, go to my YouTube page and type in 20-minute meditation. One thing that I think is important to say is that anything, if I could say that in my school, my most important course would be the soul one that I just started. And I'm still allowing people to come in. So it's soul unification and autonomy. And this is really about learning how to take care of your soul and move through the dimensions 5, 6, 7 through 9 through 12. It's all about clearing your karmic contracts and gaining an understanding of how to release yourself from that wheel. How to integrate yourself into seeking as your personal guide. Like we are meant, when the 70 plus comes, right, and especially past 12, we still confer with other beings, but it's I am the guide. Internal compass comes here, which was part of the 70 plus meditation with the heart that you were doing. And so I have created soul unification, which is like $20. That's on my school, IndiCrow Academy of thinkific.com, or karma clearing and soul contracts if you just want like a quick one-off. But other than that, honestly, I'm just a dynamo of information. So pay attention to me every day. I mean, or when you feel inspired. And I'm always constantly referring back to other materials. I'm a fan of intuitive research. So like just Google Katie IndiCrow, see what you come up with about the stuff that I've done. I mean, it's expansive.
Also, you do private readings and clearings, healings, etc. also too?
Yeah, I do a lot of I teach classes is my primary thing that I'm doing right now, is that I'm calling the masters towards me because I'm getting prepared to do a psychopomp 6-month study group. I figure you will probably want to be involved in that. Maybe. I think that's probably the thing that you're coming for. And the purpose of that is to bring together the psychopomps of this universe who are ready to talk about and embody their art as they do it. I'm not ever going to be sharing a lot of the stuff that we talk about to the public because it's sacred and it's very personal. And my craft and your craft are not going to be the same. And I really get a lot out of working with people and supporting them to connect to their sacred gift. Because to me, that's the coolest thing, is getting to know the beings who have chosen to come here and getting to be a witness to their process of connection and expansion. Because whoa. And other than that, yeah, I do sessions, and I do them I'm off and on right now. I'll probably do some next week. I oftentimes do have to take breaks from them though because of my universal duties, and it's just my soul is needed in too many other places to focus. So I do welcome people asking about them, and I am moving into a phase where I will be able to do them, and I figure a few people who are going to want to move into my work will want to. So if you're waiting for me to say it, I have some space. Yes. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. And can you say one more time, because we're cutting in and out, how do people find you exactly?
Best way, www.IndiCrowEnergetics.com. You can link to my school right through there. I'm also on Facebook at IndiCrow Energetics, YouTube, IndiCrow Energetics. It's the same thing all across the board, except for my school, IndiCrow Academy. But that's easy.
Good. Now, is there anything that you want to talk about? Anything else that we haven't talked about that's needing to be said?
I think the most important thing to talk about now is the soul and the journey of the soul, and just how I encourage people to begin to recognize that their soul is something that needs care right now and always. But I mean, we are moving through another big gateway coming. So it's April 29th. We know that June 21st is usually a thing. We're not waiting for June. May 5th, there will be stuff. And May 21st, which is my birthday, there's usually a big shift. We will have a lot of opportunities for people to move away from that slave system. And so if people are feeling like they have been receiving guidance that leads them in places that are weird, or if they are consistently feeling like that inner body shaking thing when they try to make movements, or if they kind of seem to be getting knocked off track right when they're getting somewhere good, I think it's very important to say to you, it's not because you suck. It's not because you're doing something wrong. And it's not necessarily because your vibration is low because you're not working hard enough. And those are all indications that you are still plugged into the Archon grid. And so that Archon grid system is what the pineal gland meditation is about, pulling you out of. I'm also one of the people who has been working extensively for my whole life on destabilizing that system. And so, I say it with a lot of knowledge that those little thoughts that people are having right now of you're not good enough, the self-defeating stuff, the distractions of mass media bullcrap, and maybe they're like, I know in my community there's been some pretty terrible stuff happen to generate fear. What we need to do right now is to not allow those voices to stop us. What we need to do right now is to learn to listen to our hearts and our souls first and foremost, because any person like me or you can turn into an agent of BS real quick. You know what I mean? And I think that people put way too much trust in us as the people to tell them what to do, as opposed to their soul as the director of the ship. And so for me, if I could say things that are going to make this journey fun and exciting and get you where you got to go, it's like, start getting to know yourself. And stop worrying about everybody else. And like, you know what I mean? So my soul unification work is really good for that. The 20-minute meditation on my YouTube page, 20-minute meditation for high vibe or something like that, I'll link it. When you enter that practice, connect to your soul and start talking to yourself. And say, hey, soul, what is it you need today? See where your conversations with yourself go when you start your day each day with them. And this whole thing, like you said, it's time to get to know yourselves and ourselves as we are. We have released the veil. It's gone. But that doesn't mean that we all automatically get clear knowing. We must work to create the pathways to ourselves and to our souls. So yeah, for some that is what some people consider the boring old chakra work. I don't know about you, but like I think a lot of that boring old part of it is part of the veil. I mean, I don't know about you, but expanding my energy body with knowledge and watching myself build it and doing spiritual surgery on myself, which is what happens as you build yourself up over the years and decades, right? You gain those skills over time. That's how you learn it. Doing it on yourself is pretty cool. And so I encourage people to move away from that veil of self-care is boring. Self-care costs too much. It does not. I released everything that I've mentioned today. You can access at least one open access or 2 open access exercises that are pretty high quality that I've released, and I know I'm not the only one. You can go and develop your own. Just be mindful before sharing them with other people that you know what you're doing. And the way that you learn, if you know what you're doing, is by practicing on yourself sometimes for a couple years at a time before you share it. But we are technicians, and I do also encourage self-exploration, and the only way that people are going to get to that part of themselves is to lay down the reliance on the external validation, lay down, make sure that your soul has released outdated contracts connecting you to the slave system. Unplug with intention, claim your freedom, and then live it. Like I said, soul unification and, purifying your fragments and learning how a soul works is the next big phase for a lot of people. A lot of people are awake now, and so remember that as we continue in this spiral, we're constantly also expanding what we study in ourselves. And the number one way, people talk about embodiment. How do you know so much? From life back. Okay, so this is happening in my life. Every single strand of energy that presents itself has come from somewhere. And I'm intersecting with it because of who I am, and the same for every single one of us. And so every happening, every interaction is a doorway to a history of yourself. It could be something that you could clear, something that you could understand, something you could bring alignment to, and I encourage people to look at themselves with childlike wonder and to look at their lives with childlike wonder, because that's, where truth is. It's not in a book. It's not in something I'm going to tell you. I mean, I'm telling you some pretty valuable stuff, but ultimately the truth you need to hear is not going to come from me or anyone else outside of you.
Have some fun. That's the bottom line.
It's supposed to be fun. We're supposed to have fun. That's why I dance so much. I share so much music through my community, and whenever we gather as a group to co-create and to work together with intention to support the planet. That's why fun is such an important component of every single thing that we do. And as you'll notice, children and animals are also always there pretty much, right? Because an inclusive community means that children are not excluded. They're not treated like they are less than us. In fact, they have a lot to say. And I've been having a lot of fun over the years as more and more as the parents are becoming less trepidatious with arriving, because, there was a lot of parents who I think felt weird about connecting to and admitting that their children were psychic, because being psychic comes with a lot of baggage. But everybody on the planet has this capability, and at this point, it's really fun. One of the best parts of No School is that I can plan these kids events, not just on a Saturday or Sunday, and I can get kids from around the world and their parents to come, because there's always parents there, like I said earlier. And I mean, it's also pretty cool getting to be participating in that and seeing the children of the next generation meeting each other, and the questions that they ask are so thorough and in-depth, and you're just like, whoa. There's one boy asking some pretty interesting questions about soul transfer, and I was like, the only way that you're asking questions like that is if you know how to do it already. He was not 10 years old yet.
Oh my gosh.
So just putting it out there. There's a lot of knowledge to be coming from faces that aren't like this. The Animal Collective is also wide awake right now and communicating very strongly with people. And so going back to your point, I also think that this free time, this more outside time, and then hopefully when we're allowed to roam a little more freely, the reconnection process is going to create space for a more animal-human interaction and a more heart-based way. Because also, for many of us, the most safe and high vibrational teachers for us outside of ourselves is plants and animals, trees. So it will be fun seeing how people are with their expanded skill sets getting back out there.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be exciting because it is so beautiful right now. And I'm hoping we're not going to want to forget this time and what it's like outside right now.
Well,
I don't believe we will. I'm going to hold that we're not. So Katie, if you have anything else to say, please tell us, because you've said everything and more that I hope that you would.
I think it's just important to believe in yourself and to anything that stops you from pure joy, and I don't think that we have a right to judge each other on what that is either. There are boundaries of consent and species that I think are important to be maintained at the other end. I think that a lot of people are going to start exploring parts of themselves that they never knew before. There's a lot of shame and guilt that is shifting out of our system as well, as people kind of blame themselves. Well, why haven't I done this before? And why haven't, forget that. That's the 5D loop. Anything brings you to feelings of hating yourself is an indication that you are not on the right track. Yes, we do clear ourselves, and yes, we purify. Don't use words like purge. I used them in the past 3 or 4 years ago. It's not a purge, okay? Like anybody and also discernment. What's the next thing? Don't just listen to somebody because they're on a screen or they can write something and that they present a false sense of authority. Make sure that when you choose to respect and honor somebody like me with your attention, that I deserve it. Don't give your trust so easily to somebody on a screen. This is why I feel soul unification and claiming your freedom and autonomy are the two most important parts that any of us can do right now. And that's why I place such a high priority on my open access sharing, but also on my teaching at this time. And so if you don't have money to pay for a course or a session, that's fine, because I've released stellar materials that get the job done. If you happen to want to be able to receive the extra support, come. We also know that I don't turn people away based on money. When the soul is aligned, the soul is aligned. That doesn't mean come with an empty hand and a lack perspective. I can't give anything to you if that's where you're at, because then it affects my balance. But I mean, we are in changing times, and fairness is very important, and sacred tasks can't have a price tag. I mean, it's okay to receive money for them, and I believe that's important to say. I mean, we all have lives to live. For me, international destinations to get to support the planet. Haven't figured out how to teleport the old body just yet. And so, you know, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody or to ask somebody a question or to ask for, you know, support, or to say, is there a trade I can do? And that's not just for me either. I think there's also some people that feel really afraid to take their first steps, and they let money be a factor. And I'm not saying that a teacher that receives money is a fake, because I do. I just think that I know that when you find the ones that you are meant to work with, and when it's in the highest vibrational alignment, we will always find a way to support you. On that note, there are some people who have manipulated that knowing and have given out a lot of really free, shitty advice. Is that a good place to leave this at? You know, so like I said, don't always take it just because it's there. You have to trust yourself. Like I said, soul unification, that's how you know.
Yeah, I find that if I listen to someone and it makes me feel good in my heart and it makes me feel happy and I'm learning something, that's where I'll go back. If I listen to someone and I don't feel right and it makes me feel all crawly inside, I don't listen to that person anymore. And, you know, I've just been shown that right now, Ann Mukherjee and I created Hands of Light on Facebook, and that's where we do free healing. We do prayer every day at 7-Eleven, and we just put out beautiful photos and talk to people and hold people right now. It's very important. I do at 7 p.m. on Friday nights, I do free Reiki. And I do a lot of freebs because I think it's important. And I do trades. For a while, I was just having people who didn't have very much money. I would give them a prayer assignment or something, you know, or just tell them, pass it along to somebody that, you know, you have something that they don't, you know, and then those that can afford, that are working at this time, I bless them, because then I can do awesome things like eat myself, you know. So so it's a balance right now, and I appreciate it.
Sometimes.
Right. And it's just a balance right now. We have to people tell me occasionally, they'll say, you're giving a lot of yourself. And I say, this is the funnest thing, the best thing I've ever done in my whole life. This is my actual fun. And if you knew what I was doing at other times when you didn't see my face, you would see me napping. That's the other thing to do right now.
Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, the reason why I've been hosting my own community stuff for a couple of years, hosting groups, and I've had, you know, a group called Love Wave that I've been running for a few years where I was giving open access training. And the reason why I did it is because it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. So I'm not saying like don't trust people who give things away, but it's not giving things away, it's investing in the community. And at the same time, and maybe I don't know how you deal with it, but I mean, for me, I know that I receive a lot of gifts. And those gifts are how I live. And those gifts come from people who say, here's $5, here's $10. Or when I'm in France, usually, and I'm like, I broke, everything happened, which I don't think will happen anymore. You know, my community is there for me and held me just like I've held them. And it's not a one-way thing. Like my people that I've grown, like these are my family.
Yes.
I play with their, I go out to their homes, I sleep at their houses when I'm in their country. I meet their spouses, their parents, their children, their animals. I go to the sites that they work. So it's not, I'm sharing it with them because they're the people that I love, and this is a skill that I have, and this is what I have to contribute to the world. So I just contribute it, and in contributing it in the best way that I can, I always get exactly what I need. And so that's just kind of how this is supposed to work, isn't it? Just giving our very best and doing what we can and operating from our heart space. And one other thing I do want to say about discernment, though, just because we don't align with a message from a person at a time doesn't necessarily mean they're icky. And you didn't say that, but I want to make that distinction. Sometimes it's that we go into different dimensions to work, and we have to pull out different threads. And like sometimes those threads aren't for everybody. So like even with close friends, I'll stop talking to them for like 6 months while we're on different projects because we can't talk because it will create a bleed over. And in fact, our energy and but we're wise enough to know that, oh, that's just because you're in another dimension and you're holding that space. And I'm in this one and I'm holding this one. And eventually, when we feel aligned, we come back together. We have some kind of power moment where we create the conflation of all the tasks we just did and then we move on. And so that also happens. Working groups are how this goes now. People used to talk about the mission. And like that's also like not necessarily how it works anymore. I mean, we have objectives and we have stuff we do, but when you're out of karma, you come together with people based on working groups because you want to. You don't have to work with some serial overlord that you promised an agreement with like 6 lifetimes ago. He's maybe not even being that nice anymore. If it's not highest alignment, let it go. I like working with people on a case-by-case basis, and I choose no allegiance other than love. I don't belong to any federation. I don't belong to any association. I'm Katie IndiCrow, and that's it. And I think and I enjoy and prefer to work with people who come from that perspective. Because, I think there's also a lot to do with hierarchy, groupthink, and group shifting that is being purified. And I think it will be shifted again. Because, we're forming an Earth Collective, so you got to think about that and how that kind of forms into the statement that I just made. But you got to be very careful. I'm just always understanding that not aligning doesn't mean that's an enemy. Not feeling good about it doesn't mean it's the bad thing. And always just know that, people stress a lot about figuring things out. The truth always shows itself these days. You just got to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes up.
Well said. I like it. Thank you so very much for being with me. You hung in there for a whole hour. You said so many things I had hoped you would say. And I appreciate you so much. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on today. I will get with you. I cannot wait for the next 2 weeks to see what's going to happen. I am so ready.
You are, and you will have a big transformation. We had meetings. I have a meeting with you. And so when you're ready, just pull in the time.
I will. Bless you. And thank you so very much. This will be out on YouTube, and we'll meet again.